Welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Holly Whitfield, Digital Director at the Daily Memphian. I'm here with our CEO, Eric Barnes, and producer, Natalie Van Gundy. She's back on the mic. After last week's special episode where we had rapid-fire interviews and Memphis food hot takes with Daily Memphian staffers, I thought I would bring those questions back to our usual suspects, myself, Eric, and Natalie. But first, know that Soundbites is the Daily Memphian's weekly food, drink, and dining podcast. You can tune in on WYXR radio every Thursday at 11, or, of course, listen to the pod wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes or Spotify, or you can, of course, listen at dailymemphian.com. If you are listening on WYXR, up next, you can hear the Sidebar podcast with Eric Barnes. This week, he is interviewing Memphis chocolatier chef Philip Ashley. Let's get started. We are going to stick with semi-quick discussion questions format like last week. We had some interesting answers. I'm excited to hear what Eric and Natalie have to add to those. But first, I had something I wanted to talk about. It's a story that we published 2 weeks ago on Daily Memphian about the state adopting a second official Tennessee state food. Did y'all know that we had a first state food?
I didn't. I guess I would have, if asked, I would have said, well, yeah, but I would never have known what it was, and I certainly would not have guessed what it actually is.
Right.
What is it, like hot breakfast sausage or something?
No. So apparently, and I learned this in the story, the state food for Tennessee was hot slaw.
Oh, it already was.
It already was hot slaw. And so, okay, I want to know how the conversation went to make this happen, but apparently they're going to add a second state food, which is Memphis barbecue, specifically Memphis.
Which is good.
Which is great. But back to hot slaw. I had never heard of that. Of course, I've heard of slaw and coleslaw, but we kind of had a discussion in the newsroom, and the poll was that people did not know what it was. Do you know what hot slaw is?
I had never heard of it.
It's not just spicy coleslaw?
Yeah, I mean, I would have just assumed it was spicy coleslaw.
Okay, so I did look it up. It is a very specific East Tennessee, Northern Alabama dish, and it is coleslaw with bell peppers and roasted red pepper flakes in it. So is that spicy? It really depends on your person and how you tolerate spice.
Well, see, I don't like coleslaw if it's all creamy. I can't do that. That kind of grosses me out. I do like coleslaw that doesn't have the cream, that's kind of like vinegary and just it's like chopped vegetables with stuff. So if it was that, the kind of coleslaw I like, plus peppers and some red, I probably would like it.
It sounded actually pretty good to me. Like, I would try it. And I do think it is the kind of more vinegar one that you're describing, as opposed to like the creamy one.
The creamy one.
Like something to me, I think of it as something you put on like a fish taco, but
exactly
that kind of crunchy, great texture. It sounds pretty good to me. I don't understand.
Would go well with Memphis barbecue.
It would go well with Memphis barbecue. So maybe this will be a match made in.
What sort of starch could Middle Tennessee add? Then we'd have like a full course meal.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what.
What do they have over there?
Biscuits.
That's all I was going to say.
Honestly.
They're about that interesting.
This is Sound Bites.
To be fair.
And it's lunchtime.
Sorry to all followers in Middle Tennessee.
It's Sound Bites. It's lunchtime. All of this is sounding really, really good. I would eat some barbecue with a biscuit and whatever hot, warm slaw you want to serve me. But I did think it was strange that we had a state food that only applied to a small part of the state.
You know, it's just the whole thing with the legislature. It's just a very strange place. And it's just one more example.
Of why it's strange,
yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to be really like objective and neutral and just say they make a lot of weird, strange decisions about a state that's really diverse. Mm-hmm. And you make all those decisions in one place. It's very odd.
I really like this Middle Tennessee idea, though. And then we can just have like a whole plate. Yeah. A state plate.
Fries.
Yeah, this sounds great. I think maybe we're just hungry. So,
well, I mean,
speaking of hot, we are. Speaking of hot and hot slaw, which again, slaw Memphis slang means like you're crappy at something. So hot slaw,
which I just learned
a little bit like hot garbage to me. Yeah. We'll move on from that. Hot slaw, hot takes. Memphis food, hot takes.
Wow.
I know.
We need one of those like little like sound effects when you do a really like quick pivot like that. It's
yes.
like bum, bum, bum.
I said the same word again in a different way. I will win an award for this hosting. Okay. I want to hear Natalie's Memphis food hot takes.
Mine's probably predictable, and I actually haven't shared this one with you yet.
Ooh.
There aren't enough places specifically in East Memphis, aside from Rotolo's, that are kid-friendly. For you to bring your toddler and just let them run wild while you eat half-decent food. That's my hot take. And neither one of you can probably relate to that right now.
My hot take is I hate being in restaurants with kids running wild. No,
That's why we don't go to restaurants together.
That's not my hot take. That was hard when my kids were little. It was hard. Like Memphis Pizza Cafe was pretty good, pretty kid friendly, but it was small. And there weren't the sort of rail garden kind of type places where you could be outside and they could run around. Like that to me is just an Laughlin Yard. That's like a revelation. I wish that had been around when my kids were little.
So they need something like that in East Memphis, really,
yeah,
is what you're saying.
Like back when we were younger, and I'm not saying I want this to come back, but maybe you would have gone to like a McDonald's with a play place. Well, those aren't really around anymore, and that's probably a good thing, but something should take its place.
McDonald's doesn't have play places anymore?
That's a revelation.
When's the last time you saw one?
Well, I'm not looking for them.
Well, they're not around.
Wow. Is that like a COVID?
No.
They just said
probably a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Does Chick-fil-A still have them? Have those play things?
Oh. Maybe a few, but they're not at any Chick-fil-A.
When my kids were little, we would go
us.
to the Chick-fil-A. They would beg me, and I hate Chick-fil-A, and they'd beg me to go to Chick-fil-A, and mostly to play.
Yes.
And then I've told this story before, I think my daughter, when she graduated from high school, all the dads had to do these like videos. It was like a little 90-second, 2-minute video. And I could tell that everyone was going to do really serious ones, and I just can't do that. So mine was that it was, congratulations on graduating, blah, blah, blah. And then it was just, but I think now you're old enough to know that, in fact, you are adopted. My daughter's not adopted, but
oh no.
But it's a thing. It's like a thing. And then I had this whole story that she and her brother and me had found her at the top of the Chick-fil-A slide, and the manager couldn't help us, so we took her home. And I did that video, and it played in front of all these parents and students. And my daughter and her friends who know me thought it was super funny. Like, they just totally got it. And there were dads around me just going,
they didn't get it.
Huh. And they didn't get it. They were like, is she? Like, I'm like, no, she's not adopted. No, it's fine if she had been adopted, but I would not have told her in a video at her high school graduation. Anyway, that's my Chick-fil-A Toy Story.
Okay.
Story.
I hear you. I'm with you. Okay, Eric, Memphis food, dining scene, hot take?
I'm so bad at a hot take.
Yeah.
Give us a lukewarm take.
Then. Oh, here's a hot take.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take. And I don't know
it.
if this is Memphis specific. It's actually not.
That's fine.
It's everywhere specific. Is restaurants that list the wine on the menu as very generically. We have a Pinot Grigio or Merlot, a Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc, whatever.
Eric needs to know the country of origin.
Country of origin. I need more details than that. And so then I'm pressing, and then they're like, well, it's a light Pinot Grigio, and I'm like, that's great. And I'm trying not to be a jerk. I'm trying so hard not to be a jerk. And there's a really, really good, one of our favorite restaurants in Memphis has started doing this. And Leslie and I are losing our minds. We don't know what to do. Leslie, my girlfriend, because they just tell you generically what wine's by the glass. Then they have this big, long list of really great wine. And then you kind of get them to describe it. And they can't always remember the server. It's not their fault. It's a decision from higher up. And it drives me nuts.
So specifically by the glass menus.
It's usually by the glass, sometimes by the bottle, but generally when it's by the bottle, they'll have at least the brand name next to it. So you can sort of begin to find your way into it. But for wine snobs, and it's not like I like fancy wine. It's just I'm a wine snob. It's maddening. And it happens everywhere. And my other hot take that I hate this about restaurants
Two
now.
snaps.
Two snaps right in the new microphone. We've got new equipment, people. All these restaurants serving water without ice in it. It drives me insane. And then when you ask for ice water, they'll bring you water, lukewarm water in a glass. And then I'm not a jerk. I'm really not a jerk in a restaurant. I don't like to be a jerk. My dad was always a jerk in a restaurant, so my brother and I are like the nicest people. We always overtip. We're super nice. So now I order water with ice. And that generally works.
I mean, because now there's like the tiny little water glasses.
Yeah.
With the water. You can't even fit a cube in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've talked to a lot of bartenders and the restaurants I go to a lot, and they're like, no, overwhelmingly people prefer this. They don't want the ice.
I actually like chilled water without ice.
Now, chilled water.
You should be able to get it.
Chilled water.
Whatever you want.
No ice. I love that. I'm good with that. But when it's lukewarm water, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And then when it gets hard to sort of get to the point of ice. And again, that's not just a Memphis thing. That's actually a national thing, and I'm completely opposed to it.
Well, I hope restaurateurs everywhere are taking notes of these important hot takes.
That's a cold take, guys.
Yeah.
Wow, someone got a new microphone. She's back. She's been storing it up for 3 months.
Someone pointed out to me that maybe if you did not have your brain rotted by Twitter in the mid-2010s, hot take, it just means a controversial opinion or an opinion that goes against the grain. Just in case anyone's like, what exactly is a hot take and hasn't figured it out from context clues, that's what it is. So,
or if you're like a sports radio fan.
Yeah.
Or like ESPN, whatever ESPN has become, it's all hot takes.
It's all hot takes. Got it. Okay. Mine is that I think this goes across Memphis, but definitely in Midtown. We need more middle range places to just go and have your sandwich, your tacos, whatever, middle range place. Like, I enjoy Slider Inn a lot. I enjoy Huey's a lot. But what if we had like 3 more of that level?
Yeah.
And casual, like that level of casual, that level of food, that level of price, or sure, maybe less. That would be great. Because a lot of times being Cooper Young, and this may be because I've lived here now for a very long time, but it's like, okay, am I going to go to Beauty Shop or am I going to go to Slider Inn? Like, that's my choice. And it'd be nice if there was like a few other options in there.
That's where in Cooper Young and just Midtown generally, Sweetgrass next door was great.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you could go there and you could get like a really nice steak. You could spend a lot of money and you could get good wine, or you could just get an awesome pimento cheeseburger and fries and a beer.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and like Young Abbey Deli's there, they're great, but
yeah,
we just give us a few more.
Yeah.
For people who want to have dinner at like 6 p.m. because we're in our late 30s or 40s or wherever we are in our lives. We had 1 or 2 other.
How old am I? If you guys are talking about how old you are. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, what's happened? But no one knows. In my heart, I'm still 29 years old. So.
There you go. You can be 29 and a half forever. That's fine with me. We had one more quick one I wanted to share. This, I think Natalie and I share this. Please don't have all of the food festivals on the same day in April. You can have it on a different day. Yeah. I promise that you can have it.
You could even have it in a different month.
You could have it in November. November exists.
Yeah.
The weather is nice. Yeah.
The Secretary of State should take this over. You have to go to them. Maybe the county clerk could do it. Oh.
No. You are listening to the Daily Memphian Soundbites with me, Holly Whitfield. Today we're talking with Eric Barnes and Natalie Van Gundy, talking about some hot slaw, some hot takes. If you're tuning in on WYXR, keep listening for the sidebar with Eric Barnes and Chef Philip Ashley after this. If you are listening through your choice of podcast app, be sure to subscribe. We have other Daily Memphian podcasts too, so go on a journey and find those and subscribe to them. Please.
Also, leave a review.
Leave a review.
Oh, yeah, leave a review. I need
Rate and review.
Rate and review. Philip Ashley was great. We pre-taped it, so I know that it was great. And it was awesome to talk about how they, like Natalie said, ask them how they ship chocolate in the summer and it doesn't melt, which was super interesting. And all the dynamics of cocoa. And like it was really great. And how they're kind of pivoting and doing more custom branded stuff. It was a really interesting conversation. I never met him before. I think I maybe shook Philip's hand, but it was a very good conversation.
Right. And so that's on this week's sidebar. Don't miss it. Okay, so we have some, I'm saying rapid fire questions. We're going to go around and answer these. Okay. Natalie, lunch place, East Memphis by Clark Tower, where our new office is, that you want to eat more of or want to try?
I've had it, but I still want to eat more of it all the time. I love City Silo.
You love City Silo.
And I'm really excited for the new location, which is just... No one can see me. It's great for podcasts.
You always say that to me.
There.
I'm about to say that to you. Like, oh, good, Eric, you're pointing on a podcast.
Well, they're going in the old McAllister's.
In front of Paradiso.
Yes. And it's going to be much bigger, and they'll have a nice patio, because I really like the patio at the Germantown location.
Yes, it's nice.
Yeah. The patio here is nice, too, but this will be even better. And it'll be a welcome addition to my life.
Eric, lunch place in this new vicinity that you have enjoyed or that you are wanting to try?
City Silo, definitely.
Also, okay, two for City Silo.
I'm going there after we do this. And and then, like, I love going to Houston's. I mean, I just love it. I don't know. I just like, but that's more of a weekend thing. You know, if I'm out this way and we can get a seat at the bar and like, that's more of a, I don't know.
If you want to have a company lunch at Houston's, that would be really fun.
Yeah. File that and put that on the list.
Yeah, put it on the list.
We lost the complaint box, right? Or the suggestion box that Mary Casciola had in the flood, but maybe we can make a new one.
We might make a new one for lunch ideas. For me, I haven't actually been to Fox Ridge Pizza. I'm not exactly like needing the pizza at lunch, but I hear they have like lunch specials. I don't know if it's a meat and three or something. I'll try it.
Yeah.
We have a little land bridge between us and Brookhaven Circle, so I'll give it a shot.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah. They took the fence down.
Okay. Good to know.
It's a good little pro tip. It's actually, if you know, when you go to somewhere in Brookhaven Circle, for instance, Hog and Hominy, which is really the only place I go on there, you can never park. You can actually park in the Clark Tower parking lot and just walk through. It's very good.
Pro tips, secrets revealed right here on the pod.
If you work at Clark Tower, this is helpful.
If for instance, I also like, although I haven't been there since we've kind of moved into this place, but and I haven't been to the new liquor store down the street.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, and then is it Hen House? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Hen House too. I haven't been there for lunch. I've been there for dinner.
Somewhere I do want to go for lunch is Gray's Fine Cheese.
Yes,
because I've heard they have great sandwiches.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Gray's Fine Cheese. It's in Williamsburg Village next to the liquor store and Hen House and all that good stuff. So 3 in a row right there. We'll have to try. Okay, next question. Eric, you can go first for this. Best meal you've had in the last 6 months in Memphis?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, best meal I've had in the last 6 months. I mean, I know it's just so tiresome, but it was Beauty Shop. It was this whole fish. I can't remember what it was, a red fish. That they've always done a really good red fish or a really good whole fish, and they've done redfish before, but it was a whole new kind of sweet, kind of soury thing on it. And it was the kind of a slaw-like thing that was going with it. And it was gruesome. I mean, I was at some point eating with my hands. It was really, I was like trying to duck and sit sideways and kind of half hide behind Leslie, but it was amazing. That was definitely the best. I've had a bunch of good food, but that was the best in Memphis this year.
That sounds great. They have really good specials there always.
I know. It's amazing how she keeps doing the same thing differently in some way. It's remarkable.
I like that approach to menus. You have all your favorite things, but then you do the specials.
Yeah.
So I've talked about on the pod before great meals I've had recently at Magnolia in May. Did like a surf and turf thing with a great swordfish and a steak, Catherine and Mary's. But one thing, I actually got this last night. I had it delivered, and it's just Tex-Mex. But do you know how long it's been since I've had like Tex-Mex fajitas delivered, and they were really, really good?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So my friend and I got fajitas, quesadillas. We were having a whole thing. And from El Gallo Giro on Lamar, it's just one of these little Mexican places. It's been around forever. We just took a chance. We had some DoorDash bring it to us. It's not something you want to do all the time, but it was really good. So I thought I'd shout it out.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, Natalie,
the best thing I've had in a while?
Yep.
Okay, you already mentioned it, but it was at Magnolia in May. And it's not a whole meal, but they had, I don't know if they even call it this on the menu, but it was basically spicy fried broccoli, and it was incredible. I love fried broccoli in general, and my husband makes it sometimes, or with cauliflower. Very good. But I've never really seen that on a menu, and it was so good. Delicious, perfectly crisp, lots of flavor. Not everyone would love it, though. I can tell by your faces, and that's okay.
I don't do broccoli.
I love broccoli.
I do, too.
I would try it for sure. It sounds good.
You should.
It had a good dipping sauce.
It had like a sauce on it, and it was very good.
Okay, next question. Underrated food. Most underrated food or restaurant. I will go first and quickly. I actually think RP Track's food still is really, really good. Just like their chicken pita. It seems like something that you would get at a place that is slightly less casual.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but I just think it's good. The portions are good. They're doing all kind of stuff with vegan and vegetarian options, as they always have. I just think it's a little underrated.
Mine may not be underrated, but I feel like it's not well known unless you're going here, but Libro at Novel. I
Oh,
feel
it's
like a
really
lot
good.
of people
Yeah.
don't know that it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Very good.
What is underrated? I did go somewhere recently. I don't know where it was. That I think it was me and Leslie. And we were like, "God, this is actually really good," and it was very surprising. And I can't remember what it was. I will kind of in that that vein though give a shout out to the in the airport. I think it's the second Grizz restaurant or whatever they call it. It's kind of Grizzly branded, but it's just a regular airport restaurant. One, the people there are so incredibly nice. It's unbelievable. It's
at the airport.
Awesome. At the airport,
like
the servers,
airport where
the
planes come.
servers, at the airport.
Okay, just
so you
making
go
sure.
down there, you go down, and then you get to the place down by like the 20 gate 15 or 16 or something like that. Sit down. They're unbelievably nice, and the food is actually way exceeds expectations.
So if y'all want to go to this restaurant, get your ticket first anywhere in the world, and then you can go
Get a
here.
$50 flight on Allegiant, and
Don't take it.
I did see though that they're doing tours. They're doing like open tour. You can register and do a tour of the airport now, which is smart because it's so cool in there, and all the art's really cool, and apparently I'm really into the food, and so there's just like a whole trifecta.
Well, what did you get?
When I had like a chicken sandwich and fries, but it was just a lot of times you're in a place like that in an airport, and it's going to be kind of gross, kind of dry.
$30.
People are going to be it's going to be $30. People are going to be kind of rude and or overworked or stressed out or whatever. And it was not that. It was very Memphis, super nice people, and working really hard, but and then the food was just way better than you might have thought.
Eric's like, I'm going to Italy, but first I need a great meal.
Yes.
I'm gonna eat at the airport.
That may or may not have happened in fall of 2023.
We are picking at you a little bit, but honestly, I'm into it. I'm into the vibe. You can't always have
You just used RP tracks. What are we talking about here?
I know, but the airport, I don't know. The airport is just...
It wasn't what I expected you to say.
No, there's some other place that I should be saying that I'm not, but I also love the new airport. The new airport is just so awesome. And I fly a lot, and I've flown a lot in the last year. And it's kind of crazy when you come back into the airport. You're like, wow. I mean, it's smaller than a lot of airports, but it's really, really nice, really pleasant. And a lot of airports are not.
I think these are great picks, if I do say so myself, from all of us, our underrated food ideas. Okay, next question. I'm going to just keep going with this. This is something that we talked about with some of the Daily Memphian staffers last week as well, and maybe in the future as well. But first date locations, date ideas. A first date is difficult because you don't want to go too nice or too not nice. You want it to be like the right atmosphere and the right price point. So it can be kind of hard to find one that fits the vibe. Do you all have suggestions for all the people sadly swiping on dating apps right now, trying to figure out where to go to meet their catfish date?
You have each had a first date more recently than I have.
I have had, it was 6 years plus since I had a first date.
Do you remember, was it here? And can you tell us?
It was me and Leslie, and we went to the liquor store on Broad Avenue. That was good.
Yeah.
It was kind of, because it was like, we
Was it
we
daytime?
had mutual friends or something. We kind of met each other. It was dinner, and it was good. It was ice cold. Not their fault. It was just like a really hot day or something, and it was very cold. And like the AC was just on, and that was kind of funny. But because someone was wearing clothes that needed more heat.
Got it. Mess up your outfit plans.
Yeah, I
think that's a good one. And they have like good cocktails and stuff there too.
Yeah.
If you're having a cocktail on your first date.
Yeah, it was good. And we actually just went back there for the first time in forever in the last month or so, and it was really good. And it was a very fun waiter. It was good. I'm trying to think of other places.
And East Memphis is kind of hard for like the reasons I talked about earlier with Midtown. You need like the mid-range spot. I went on a first date to SOB East, which was great because it was a great date. But it was maybe a little higher end for like a first date than you would think. It depends on what you order, but that was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
We like went to a movie afterwards. And then we went to the Half Shell,
Nice.
Which is a nice spot, actually, I think, for a casual date or somewhere where you just want to sit under their like weird inside.
I love the bar.
Tiki hut bar area and just like have drinks brought to you, and then they kind of like leave you alone so you can get to know the person. So I think half shell is a good one.
I think that's a good one. And it's a little bit of a, not in a bad way, it's a bit of a test.
Yeah.
Because if what you want is like a really foofy, like high-end place, that's not half shell, but it's also super quirky and interesting, right?
Yeah. Good people watching.
Good people watching.
They do have food if you need it, but more of a drinks place maybe for a date. Anyways.
I think we went, this kind of blurs together. I think similarly we went to, what's the bar on, I'm snapping my fingers a lot today. And it's so obnoxious. What's the bar on next to Broad Avenue Pizza? I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, the Cove.
The Cove. So I think we went from liquor store to the Cove.
I think that's a great date. If you're going to a second location, if things are going well, to go from liquor store to the Cove. Because the Cove also can be, unless they have a band, you're like, you can chat.
Yeah.
Natalie, do you have any date
back in the 90s when
ideas?
You were dating?
When I was a baby. Well, my first date with my husband was at Interim, which is now SOB East.
Yeah.
So in a way, you kind of stole my spot.
Oh,
it's kind of fancy.
Interim was good though.
It was good. It was really nice, and I'm sad it's gone for that reason.
Was it a bar? Did you go to the bar or did you go to a table?
We had a reservation. It was fancy.
Ooh.
Fancy.
I don't have any other than that.
It went well.
We're now married,
Perfect. What more could you ask for?
Procreating.
Okay, well, I think we've given people a lot to think about.
Yes, we have.
A lot to chew on. That is all the time we have. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sound Bites. We've done things a little bit differently the last couple of weeks. Let us know what you think about it. You can tune in to WYXR every Thursday at 11. Listen wherever you get your podcasts, but not Stitcher. Rest in peace. Of course, you can read more and listen at dailymemphian.com. Thank you to all of our guests, me, myself, Natalie Van Gundy, Eric Barnes.
And everyone else in the room.
And everyone else in this room.
You're welcome.